Impeachment trial and the presidential election race, political coverage across the United States is almost at an all-time high.
But a number of news and entertainment media companies are noticing consumers are hungry for alternative content. Axios media reporter Sara Fischer took a look at how the so-called Trump effect is changing the media landscape. And Sara joins us now with more of her on her weekly newsletter. Thank you so much for joining us. She's in Washington. So why exactly are some companies stepping back a bit from their political coverage?
Yeah, Emery, I think that they realize that some of their viewers are just over it. I mean, there's wall-to-wall impeachment coverage, not just the trials, but even before the trials. Before that, there was wall-to-wall coverage of the Mueller trial. Before that, Comey and Kavanaugh. I think people are just over it. And so they're hearing from two different constituencies. One, advertisers are over it. Advertisers have been saying to networks, look, we don't want to be around as much political content. And if we do have an ad, can you please try to space it away from some of the candidates' ads, because we don't think our consumers want to hear it. And then the other constituency is the viewers themselves. You have people online and people watching TV who are complaining that they're just getting too many political ads and that they're sick of political coverage. And to that end, we're starting to see ratings dip. If you look at the last few debates, fewer people are tuning in than they did in the beginning.
I wonder, when it comes to advertisers, is it also the fact that we seem to be very, very partisan right now? And so some of the issues maybe during a different time that wouldn't be divisive issues or hot button issues, third rail issues, have suddenly become that. And so advertisers want nothing to do with it.
Yeah, I think that's a huge part of it. The partisan vitriol has made this a really bad environment for advertisers, especially for ones who don't have sort of polarizing messaging. I think about a lot of the consumer packaged good companies, people who are selling things like toothpaste and toilet paper. These are bipartisan products. They don't want to be next to people screaming about health care or screaming about the election. And so the difficult thing here is that you would want to say to them, look, go somewhere else, then don't message around news content. The problem is, Vlad and Amory, everything has become news content. You hear these advertisers complaining that if they want to run around the Olympics or the Super Bowl, we know that political advertisers are going to be there as well. And so this has become a trap for a lot of those advertisers that just don't want to be involved in politics.
Yeah, and I was going to say, Sarah, I mean, I think because we're in the media world, we sometimes have an outsized perception of the role that political coverage plays. But when you look at the aggregated numbers of viewers who watch the cable networks, for example, right, the cable news networks, and you compare that with, for example, the finale of The Big Bang Theory back in May, they got 18 million viewers on that night. There's no cable news show running 24-hour coverage of politics, even getting anywhere near that number. Most of the top-rated shows in cable news get an average of 1 million viewers in just the demo.
That's exactly right. And of course, America's pastime, football, is by far the most highly rated event on television. In fact, whenever we've had breaking news on a Sunday, football has tended to outbeat it every single time. I think about some of those beginning impeachment hearings where people were saying, hey, viewership's not that bad. 13 million, 11 million people watching. Well, if you take a look at what people are watching for the average Sunday night game, that's a lively game, you're looking at 20 million people. So you're dead on that this is not what America is focused on, at least not what the majority of the country is focused on right now. And I think for people that are trying to market to the majority of the country, being around political content is not what's going to get them to push their products through.
And it's not because people aren't interested in news, because 60 Minutes routinely gets 15 million viewers, right? People are interested in high-quality news, a good story, well told. But what maybe you're noticing in your analysis is that people are getting tired of the same panels, of the same things being repeated hour after hour after hour.
Yeah, I think it's the vitriol, especially when you look at breaking news that doesn't have to necessarily do with politics. It goes off the charts. I think about the MH370 plane, the Thai boy stuck in the cave. Those types of big news events get big viewership because people are curious about news around them. breaking news around things like hurricanes get lots of viewership. But what's not getting a lot of consistent high bumps is this overarching theme of politics continued. Because as you said, Vlad, at this point, it feels like copy and paste. It's the same type of partisan bickering. It's the same type of people on Capitol Hill, with the same type of messages. And I think people at this point have heard it, and they're saying enough.
And it's actually not just us, right? The Brits are kind of over it, too. What did Sky News do in the middle of all that Brexit content, I guess, during the Brexit?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it makes me feel a little bit better, right, that it's not just us. Sky News, which is one of the biggest TV networks for news in the UK, created a Brexit-free channel for those who are in the UK who are just so sick of hearing about Brexit. And, the trend here largely is that people are getting sick of partisan politics and bickering around the world. It's not just the U.S., it's everywhere. And so when I think about what's next to come for the 2020 election, I don't expect any more big spikes in viewership, but at the same time, it doesn't make me as concerned knowing that it's not just a U.S. problem.
And if you are a cable cord cutter, Sarah, and you're looking for high-quality news content, like the discussion we're having right now with you over at Axios in D.C., you can stream CBSN.
Yeah.
It's a little commercial.
Absolutely.
It's Sara Fischer. Great talking to you. Thanks.
Thank you.